There's a part in the song where David wrote, and it's not enough to talk about it. It's not enough to get up and sing a song. We have to walk the walk. And for me, that's what this year is going to be. To really walk the walk and to walk the talk of being kinder, to create a kinder world for myself, a kinder life. And that also means being kinder to myself, by the way, for all of us. Being kind to ourselves, how we treat ourselves, how we push ourselves to accomplish, push ourselves to do this, do that, as opposed to back off and give yourself a breath. Give yourself the time. Give yourself the love to be. There's also a part in the song that says, what can we do when there's nothing left, when there's nothing we can do? You know, when I first heard that song years ago, I used to think, well, there's always something we can do. But I liked how this went. When I heard it recently, just this week when I was working on this talk, what can we do when there's nothing we can do? We can be kind. But think about that. When there's nothing more you can do, it's because you've exhausted the exterior things in life. Everything out there. You're doing everything you can do. But are you being who you are? Are you actually stepping into being kind, being clear, being God? Greatness on demand. Being the greatness that you are sometimes doesn't mean doing great things. It means being the consciousness of greatness so that greatness can flow out of you. That's where we're headed. That's where we have to be headed. Nobody really wants to fight. Nobody really wants to go to war. If everyone wants to make things right, then what are we always fighting for? Yesterday when I woke up to the news that what was going on in the world was scary to me, and I think tipped an even overflowing cup to even more overflowing in terms of how are we treating one another? What are the things that are important to us in this country, in this world? I don't even want to just point out our country. What's really going on? Are we really paying attention to how we treat one another? Are we really doing the work to make people safe, to make people free? Or are we doing the work to make ourselves more powerful? And the reason why I believe the world powerful people try to make themselves more powerful is because they don't know who they are and they feel they are not powerful. Because if they actually knew, as Ernest Holmes said earlier, if you actually knew who you were and knew that everyone else was that as well, you couldn't possibly behave the way you're behaving. And that's not just our government, that's many governments in the world. There's so much going on in the world that when we look at. And so this lyric hit me a very different way. Nobody wants to fight. Nobody wants to go to war. Well, that's not exactly true. Some people do because that's all they know. And some people want to go to war because they see that as their way to get more of what they want. And I see that. Because then the next two lines make sense. If everyone wants to make things right, then what are we always fighting for? If everyone really cared about their fellow man because they knew that you, Catherine, are me, James. We are the same person in different personalities. So, at the end of the song, he says, does nobody want to see it? Does nobody understand? The power to heal is right there in our hand. So, I don't need PowerPoint. Oh, do I? Yeah, that way, yeah. The title of my talk today, here are the slides, Can to Will. From can to will. Here's the thing. You can be kind, but will you be kind? It's so easy. You can do anything, but will you do anything? I mean, that's the question I have as I stepped into this year, into 2026. How do I go from what I know I can do to what I will do? And I don't mean will in the future, to what I do. I actually do. How do we go from can to will? So I was driving home from somewhere, and I stopped at a red light right by my house and saw this fabulous poster, a billboard. And I read it, and I smiled, and I was like, oh, my God, that's a brilliant. So in my head, I'm like, remember what the billboard said. I get home, I open the door, and Kevin had a question about the house. And I answered it, and we got to talking. I was like, oh, what was that slide? Oh, my God, I totally forgot what it was. I knew the beginning of it. And Kevin was like, well, where was the billboard? I said, right around the corner. He goes, then go look. So, so I did. I went back, and I looked at the billboard. You're going to have to turn around and this isn't the billboard, but this is the quote. Smile. You just became the reason this billboard exists. Isn't that awesome? You know, you're sitting on a corner, and there's all this stuff going on. And it's like, smile, and I did. You just became the reason this billboard exists. And I looked. I was like, okay, what are they selling? They're selling something. Nothing. Someone bought that billboard. Watch, someone's going to figure out that it's about something, but I could not find it. Someone bought that billboard so that I would smile in the middle of a busy day. That's kindness. That's kindness, to give someone a chance to smile. Maybe maybe I just came from the doctor and had a horrible diagnosis, and I'm sitting at a corner, and it says, smile. You're the reason this billboard exists. Take my mind off of whatever that is for the moment. That's what we have the power to do, the power right there in our hands. So my question really is, what is kindness? You know, what is kindness? And last night, in Saturday night services in Palm Springs, it's very experiential. Everyone's, in a circle somewhat, and we all talk, and we go into pockets, and people talk about what we're talking about that week. And, one of the things is, what is kindness? And people were answering the question of what is kindness. And while I go to it's an energy, it's a vibration, but someone said something that really hit me when she said it. She said, well, actually, to me, kindness just means making other people as comfortable as you want yourself to be. Making people feel good about themselves because you want to feel good about yourself. And when she said it, it was just so honest and so typical. It's like, be kind. Make someone else feel the way you want to feel. Help them to be as happy as joyful. And I love that. This is from Theodore Isaac Rubin. Kindness. And he said, kindness is more important than wisdom, and the recognition of this is the beginning of wisdom. Now just think about that for a second. Kindness is more important than wisdom, and the recognition of this is the beginning of wisdom. So if we start our year saying to ourselves, I want my world to be kinder. I want my body to feel kinder. I want my mind to be peaceful and feel kinder. I want people around me to be happier because I'm happier. I mean, if I start my world like that, then what have I also done? I've opened my mind up to the possibilities, to the infinite potentiality of the universe. I'm no longer trying to make things happen. I'm actually being the creative energy that is making things happen. Very different mindset. So, from can to will, what is going to make 2026 different from 2025 for you, or 2024, or 2023, 2022, go all the way back to when you were born in 1902? What's going to make this year different? What's going to make this year actually accomplish something, and not by doing, but by being? What's going to make this year different? Now, people were yelling out last night, choice. You have to make a decision. It's like, yeah, you do have to make a decision. You do have to make a choice. But the real thing is, when you make a decision or you choose something, what is the consciousness behind it? What's the energy behind that choice? What's the energy behind that decision? Because we all make decisions. We all make resolutions at the beginning of a year. And then by February, March, our consciousness has shifted somehow. It's no longer that important to us. We let it go. So what is going to make 2026 different? What's going to start your year off with a bang and let it keep resonating throughout the entire rest of your life? Intention, yes. And intention is a consciousness. What do you really intend? And there's a beautiful quote here. Well, let me get to this one first. Look at this. I'll read it to you. From Walt Disney. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So we've all talked a lot about we've been talking about this freaking projector for months now, and none of us have done a damn thing about it except try to fix pieces of it. Well, tomorrow we're getting rid of it. That's it. It's done. We're moving on. It's about the intention. What's the intention? It's not the decision to do something about the projector, which Thor's been doing things about, Swan's been doing things about. It's the intention to have a functioning wall, not fix the projector. So there's always, what can you move to make sense out of what your intention is about, what your decision is about. If my decision is, and one of my resolutions this year, my big resolution, my global, let's call it, resolution, is to live a simpler life by following my heart. That's my resolution for the year, to live a simpler life by following my heart. Not my mind, not my brain, not what everybody thinks I should be doing, but follow my heart. But what does that mean? It's a great resolution. It's a great intention. But what's the consciousness behind it? What's behind that intention? Well, what's behind that is intention is that I've become aware that I need to live more in the being than the doing. And that's the simplification of my life. I'll probably do more in this simple version of myself because I'm much more focused now on being who I am and not doing what I need to do. So that's a great quote from Disney, because here's the thing. I picked that picture that you can't see. I picked that picture because if Walt Disney was someone who just talked about things and didn't do it, we wouldn't have that. We wouldn't have Disneyland. We wouldn't have Mickey Mouse. We wouldn't have Disney World. We wouldn't have so much of what that man created because he was a doer. He had an idea and he accomplished it. What's going to cause you to have an idea and accomplish it in 2026? And I'm going to tell you that the number one thing is that you get real clear about who you are. Because most people don't accomplish what they say they want to do because they suddenly don't believe they can do it. They feel less about what they've decided to do. So William Butler Yeats said this: "Do not wait to strike until the iron is hot, but make it hot by striking." This is for all you perfectionists out there who are going to wait until everything's perfect to then do the thing you say you're going to do. I'm going to write that book, but I'm going to wait till I have all the ideas, and then I'm going to wait until I make sure no one else is writing about that out in the world. Oh, they did. I have to think of a new idea. No. Just pick up a pencil or a pen or open your typewriter and start writing. That's it. And the more you write, the more you write, the more you write, your iron gets hot, and it's time for it to be published. It's that sort of thing. Can I tell you how many people tell me that they're going to write a book? And a lot of, now in our center, you can't, if you throw a stone, you'll hit someone that just wrote a book. I mean, that's what we're doing here, and that's great. But so many people, so many things, different things. I'm going to do this. Are you? Or would you like to do this? You know, how do you move from can, I know you can do that, but will you do that? And if you won't, what's the reason? And I'll tell you what it is. In 2026, we need to stop waiting. And I'll ask you this today: what are you waiting for to live the life you know is the life you want to live? Careers that people want to have. Crazy ideas that people want to have. Who was it that told me the other day they had this really successful life on Wall Street? Oh, a friend of ours told us about his friend. This 28, 29-year-old entrepreneur on Wall Street was making tons of money and was unhappy. And he said, and my friend, and all of our friends were like, are you insane? You're making so much money. And he's like, no, I can't do it. He quit his job, moved to Los Angeles, and started writing movies because that's what he wanted to do. He said, I've always wanted to write movies. And I think he sold his first movie this year, a couple years ago. He just gave it all up. That's what I'm talking about. What are we waiting for? And you know what it is? We are waiting, and we put things in place of the thing we want to do, And that becomes the thing that we're doing now. That takes all of our energy. That takes all of our focus. And that thing that we thought we wanted to do when we were actually in touch with our authentic self, that's just lying there, asking for you to pay attention to it. So, what's it going to take? What's it going to take this year for you to stop waiting and actually start being the thing itself? The thing itself. So, another question I had is, what happens if you do take what I'm saying today and start living it? A kinder world in 2026. What's going to happen? What happens when you start being kind to yourself, to the people around you? Well, Amelia Earhart said this: a single act of kindness throws out roots in all directions, and the roots spring up and make new trees. So my question to you also is this: where have you been laying your roots? Because they're all out there. You are this infinite field of pure energy and creativity, and you are putting roots everywhere. When you think, when you feel, all of that is creating the roots of your life. Where are you putting them? What trees are you growing? Are you putting out roots of fear? Are you putting out roots of uncomfortableness? Are you putting out roots of joy? What roots are you putting out? If you think about it, everything you think, feel, everything that you decide creates a ripple. And those are, as Amelia Earhart would say, those are the roots of your life. So what if you were putting out roots of kindness every day, and you were just building this vibrational world around you where you were no longer waiting for something to happen. You were the thing that was happening. And therefore, life is reciprocating perfectly, which it's already doing now, by the way. So, Thich Nhat Hanh said this. He said, enlightenment is not an escape from the world, it is full participation in it. Many people think that they have to get all quiet and somber and sit on a rooftop or a hilltop and turn into a pretzel and meditate and do all of this work. But you know what? I'm not poo-pooing any of that work. But if you're not doing that work to be able to integrate it into your life, what are you doing it for? Probably to get peaceful. But we have to learn how to be peaceful in that crowd. Oh, you can't see it. In that crowd there. You all 9 can see it. There was benefit to being home today. In that home, they're seeing this. So, enlightenment is not an escape from the world, it is full participation in it. And that takes me a little bit to who we are as a community. We have been such a beautiful little secret community here in Westlake Village, hidden here in the unseen water court that has no signage anywhere. It's just a building that houses so many different things that you can't know about because you're not allowed to put signage up anywhere about this building. Done with excuses. That cannot be an excuse for us to be invisible in a world that needs us to be way more visible. It is time for us to take our enlightenment and participate fully in the world with it. And I'm so grateful to Tiffany and to Kirby for being part of the team that is actually making that happen. To take this center, and next week, when we have our general meeting and we announce a new name and we explain everything we're doing, it'll be fun to see all of your reactions and for you to really see where we're going and what we are doing with this. So, Ernest Holmes gets the last quote of the day. Spiritual truth becomes real only when acted upon, when thought, feeling, and behavior align. This center I will no longer allow this center to be a center that is purely thought-based. It has to be heart-based and thought-based, and it has to be this coherent alignment of heart and brain so that we are feeling our way into this expansive evolution that life is, and that we need to be the lighthouse for that. We need to stand up and say, I got a beautiful call from someone in Anton that I highly respect who said to me, You know, James, your center is leading the way for many of our centers to see what Ernest Holmes was really talking about. I cannot tell you what that phone call did for me. I said, thank you. I said, and he also was very clear saying, and by the way, it's not just you, it's your students. He said, your students have done so many amazing things out in the world, and I know that. There's a conference coming up, and I believe Liza is one of the keynotes in that. Laurie Savage is a keynote in that conference. So we are on the precipice, and it's time to jump off that precipice, by the way. It's time to leap into the world and really take what we understand at this center forward. So from can to will. The last thing I want to say to you today is you have everything at your fingertips, just like Kevin sang in the song. The power to heal. And when I say heal, I don't indicate a disease. I mean the power to reveal all that you have to offer into the world. The power to do that is right there in your mind, in your heart, in the understanding that the heart and the mind coming together is a powerful tool. When you know what you know, and take that knowing with feeling and move it through this vibration of creative energy, we have the power to move mountains. And I think we've known that for a long time. We've known that we can do that. Will we? You bet your ass. Namaste.